Bye-bye. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello, Ghostly. How goes your Friday? Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Oh. Oh no, Ghostly, no. I'm sorry. Awful, but only vibes. Only the vibes are awful. That happens. Yeah, all is well. Happiness is a joy. Oh, I'm sorry, Ghostly. And you choose life. I'm glad, as one should. You should always choose life. But I feel you a little bit. I'm a little smoked today. I'm very tired. I'm a little fried and burnt out. To be honest with you. Like bacon. I feel like bacon. I definitely feel like they made bacon out of my ham today. So I'm gonna have to be monitoring because they forgot to send me a thing they needed. So after I get done streaming, I might have to do a quick tweak before I will be free for the remainder of the weekend, I guess. The puns are giving me life right now. Yes, yeah. There's a lot of them. Like making. What was the most recent one that we were doing? We were homaging an old South Park thing, making bacon with macon, or baking bacon with macon. And that one's really weird because it's a pig that helps them cook bacon. It's really weird. Anyway. My writing just gave me a happy surprise, though. Well, that's good. So hopefully that helps the vibes turn around. Cryptid, welcome in. Nighttime crew. It's a bit of cannibalism. Yeah, that it is. I think that was the joke that those guys were pulling. Was that and they do. If I remember correctly, I mean this was on like. I think they recorded these as like intros to the second season of South Park, so this was back in like the late 90s. So this is old stuff, but if I remember correctly, they do have a bit where they're like throwing bacon and letting the pig eat. I can't imagine it's real bacon. I don't know. Can you do that? That seems really bad. The South Park guys don't seem quite as bad as that, but maybe they were. Who knows? Thanks, gang. Good to be back. Yes. Oh yeah, that episode is old. I know it. So at least 98. Yeah, it is way back. Pigs can eat anything, including people. Good to know. I mean, that's why they famously, like, if you're gonna dump a body, they always tell you to, isn't that like a whole like thing with like, yeah, exactly. Guy Ritchie. Yeah, I was like, that was like a whole thing where they just like dump bodies and like at pig farms. But how's everybody? Hence the expression greedy as a pig. Makes sense. But hopefully everybody's having a decent Friday. I hope I'm not I know. Hopefully the writing is surprising you, Ghostly. Giving you happy surprises. Hopefully that helps change the vibes of the day. I'm kind of hoping writing's gonna make my brain want to live. after the shenanigans the pork people pulled on me today, so I'm looking for something that's gonna try to like make my life a little bit happier. Stupid bacon. Little piece of happiness was I got home early and worked on a design for a hoodie. Awesome. For this fantasy road trip. That's awesome. Like a character hoodie, like a little. That's cool. That's awesome. Murder is always an option. Yeah, I'm starting to consider it. They're dragging my tolerance for working my ass off for these people to Yeah. It's how all these jobs always end where you're always just like, I'm about there, everybody. I'm about there. And then that's usually about the time they wrap up. So they always take you right up to that to that ledge sometimes. Feed them to the pigs. Yep. Play the Alanis Morissette song. That's a good point. That's what I'll do. We'll just feed them to the pigs. Not me randomly remembering I have cheap Photoshop. For the hoodie that you were designing. Oh, that's cool. I mean, what was that Photo Elements? I think it's like the free version of Photoshop. It's pretty good. The last time I haven't used it in a long time, but I remember I knew some people who were doing a bunch of artwork on it. It wasn't a bad program. Ooh, yes, put it in the Discord. Boop. Ba-da-da. Any Photoshop is free if you were on the Bay in the in the 20 teens. Yeah. The problem is now with the streaming, all the streaming ones, or not streaming, sorry, the subscription ones. They kind of like, that's kind of how yeah, that's true. I never was able, what can, I was never, in my attempts at that, I actually could never get them to work. Yeah, I could never get it to work. I don't even think I started using Photoshop until I got the college campus versions of it. They were like, it was just, every time I tried, it just never worked. Ooh, this looks cool, Ghostly. A design for a hoodie, edited by Ghostly. Oh, nice. Oh, those mix together really well. So you just got like I'm always going to be a fan of like black and white kind of etched, anything that looks like it's wood etched. Drake smithing. I like this. This looks good, Ghostly. Perfect. Now you got to start making your own merch for your book, and then actually put that on a hoodie. I guess at that point you'd probably have to buy the rights to the images you pulled, but no one would know. Yes, they're atrocious. Word tried to do the same, and I stubbornly refused. I only paid for Word when I took if a publishing house did. Yeah, I think I've had to sign up for their subscription thing on and off a couple times. Oh, it's easy. You just swap the DNS file so it thinks the free trial. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I think. Well, because it's like, I mean, obviously, like in modern streaming, like the modern subscription, I haven't tried it. I think my buddy had Premiere that way. Like, he got Premiere, and I think he did do, something like that, where he went in and swapped the DNS file. I don't know. I was never able to get it to work. At least for my, that. And I moved over to, like, Final Cut and kind of tried to get off of Adobe I left Adobe pretty early. I only very briefly worked in Adobe when I first moved to LA. I definitely don't have the CS6 suite that way. Definitely not. Definitely not. All right, let me move this around really quick. It was funny. I was actually just talking about, like, people that grew up in like the prime era of pirating. I mean, because I was a Napster kid. I grew up when Napster was a thing, so we actually were using Napster before it got shut down. Napster was weird. It was a weird place. The internet back then was a weird place. I mean, it's always been a weird place, but the internet the internet was a weird place in the Napster world. Like, it was really weird. Let's see. The hammer, anvil, sword were separate elements I found. Then had to cut out the background. Okay, oh, so you actually went in and, yep, you did the oh no, helicarpal tunnel. Then I changed the colors and contrast and slapped it all together. Yeah, you did an amazing job with it, Ghostly. I feel bad that you had to, like, go through pixel by pixel to, like, crop it out. You know, it's funny. I've done similar things to that when I was doing, like, you know, scrapbook art, like digital scrapbook art when I was in college. But well done. I mean, I couldn't tell. So you're going pixel by pixel. You made it clean. Very, very clean. LimeWire salutes, yeah. Yep. I never used LimeWire. I was off. I got off that whole thing before LimeWire was a thing. I think at that point I had slowly moved into, like, I think there were torrents at that point. God, man, this is bringing me back. That was like 20 years ago. Jeez. It's a long time ago. Probably shouldn't have taken as long as it did, but I am an old British man. You are very talented. I agree, Cryptid. You are a very talented old British man. So well done, Ghostly. I have to delete pixel by pixel when I work in in Circuit, really? They make you work for it? That's awful. Going in pixel by pixel sounds like an absolute nightmare. That does not sound fun at all. Torrents, the good old days, yeah. This was a long time ago. The old days. Yeah, you nailed it, Ghostly. Even like maximizing it, I can't really see. It actually looks like a clean PNG file. So you nailed it. Yeah, there's like none. Even when I make it bigger. Oh, did it come this time? Oh, look at that. Oh, also, I've discovered there is a type of horror you do like. Interesting. Okay. All right, Ghost. Hey, Mr. DeCat, welcome. Oh, flaming. You coming in hot. Coming in ready to start flinging fireballs. All right, Ghostly, hit us with it. What is the kind of horror that you do like? I know I feel like I was too tired and rambling to even like remotely be clear when we were talking about horror yesterday. This is why I shouldn't stream while tired. I feel like I just babble forever, and then I also just say random crap that like doesn't make any sense. But yes, I need to know, Ghostly, what is your favorite type of horror? And I'm gonna save any deep, in-depth conversations for a day when I'm not utterly the past. All my streaming this week has been I've been broken, broken mentally. Now you're good, Weather. That's what the T is for. That is what the T is for. Speaking of which, I actually might spend the first part of the first sprint we do making tea because I'm out of tea. Mr. DeCat, you like supernatural horror? Yeah, supernatural horror is fun. I mean, a good solid haunted house movie can be a good time. There's definitely and like particularly haunted house movies that deal, you know, the gothic, southern gothic tradition where it's like deals with like familial trauma. It's why I really like Flanagan's first The Haunting of Hill House. Like that's a good solid supernatural horror story where it really leans into that. It is ultra specific. I don't like demons, okay? I don't like anything that has/will certainly kill you, okay? I like something weird and unknown that we don't know why it's a threat, but it just seems wrong. The horror of the unknown. Interesting. I mean, that is, you're out of tea. Someone get Wildlight a cup immediately. Yeah, there's just the dredges at the bottom. I gotta go more. It's interesting, Ghostly, because I'm actually, the kind of horror that I like to write tends to be that kind of horror. That's really where, yeah, it's like, yeah, cosmic horror. Because Lovecraft is the one who famously said the oldest and strongest fear, or the oldest and strongest emotion in man is fear, and the oldest and strongest fear is the fear of the unknown. Um, so, yeah, okay, like X-Files episodes, yeah, like, yeah, I wonder, the fear of the unknown, it is a powerful thing. So, like, the deep darkness in the cosmos, that's kind of the abyss that stares back into your soul kind of thing. But I'm wondering if it's see, the thing that I think, Ghostly, is I think it's less the unknown and more the uncanny. I see the thing that you know what I think is I think Ghostly, I think it's things like the Stepford Wives or Valley of the Dolls, where everything's just off, where people aren't acting normal, and it's kind of like when you walk into a room and everybody's staring at you, and you're kind of like, why is this happening? It's just like all of a sudden the feeling in the room just like, oh, interesting, okay, the uncanny valley makes you want to throw up. Interesting, okay. Because that is like the whole weird, when you think of like Get Out, that's like what makes Get Out so creepy for the most, that movie, is the sort of like everything's um now, are you saying, like, is it the uncanny valley that makes you want to throw up? Is that like the genre, or is it like when you see like digital things that try to represent? Oh, Smile? Is Smile the uncanny valley? I don't know if Smile's the uncanny. I don't what is that what that is? Hold on, let me catch up on Chat Cryptid. I have a weird theory why fear of the unknown is coming back. Interesting. Okay. Uh like that one neighbor that's just not right. He never actually does anything, but there's just something. The ethereal something is wrong. Yeah. Because we've seen more of a resurgence with that recently. Oh, films like It Follows, yeah. Yeah. Um, or that's just living in the South. I mean, that could just be like living in the South. Interesting. I wonder. You, hmm. There is, I mean, that's like some real. It depends how disturbing you get with it, because some of the most disturbing horror is kind of like that's like you wouldn't even call it horror, but that like reminds me of like Michael Haneke type stuff, like The White Ribbon, where there's a series of like like there's a series of like people, like happenings, like people aren't getting murdered, they're accidents, but it slowly becomes clear that people are getting murdered, and everything in that movie, everything just feels wrong. The movie plays out almost like a domestic drama, where it's just these people and their little life dramas in this village, um, and of course the reveal at the end is that someone is murdering everybody in the town, everybody who's like misbehaving in the town, and the last shot of the movie is just the entire town gathered in the church steeple, and it just lingers on the fact that like everything feels horribly, horribly alien, and that somebody in there is the one who's killing people, but you don't know who. It's just, and that's how the movie ends. And it's deeply disturbing. It's a deeply disturbing film, but like nothing really happens. It plays out like a drama. Let's see here. Oh, that's just Living Sound. Writing Morgan Le Fay new into, and I love her already. Nice. Yes, that sounds awesome, Mr. Cat. I physically couldn't wait. Yeah, Smile. See, Smile's weird. I would legitimately be petrified, like deep primal fear, like I'm about to die type fear I shouldn't feel from a movie trailer. Okay. Yeah, see, that just feels creepy. That doesn't feel like Uncanny Valley to me. But I haven't seen Smile, so I don't know. That sounds really... Oh, The White Ribbon. It's, I don't know if that's a ghostly movie. You could definitely give it a shot. Michael Haneke he's one of my favorite filmmakers. But he's very... It definitely is probably going to be like it's going to feel like you're watching like an art film, I guess, kind of, sort of, in a way. I don't. I have to. I'm trying to remember if there's anything that I should flag for you in that movie, but I don't think there's not. There's not a lot of total brutal stuff. I mean, there's people being shitty, but it's like people being shitty in a normal, like in a normal human domestic drama way. That's very Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Yeah, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's a good example of Uncanny Valley. So yeah, that's kind of what I mean, because like that is like where all of a sudden everybody's a hive mind and everybody's looking at you. The best recent film to do Uncanny Valley would have probably been either Us or the two early Jordan Peele films, Us or especially Get Out, because the whole beginning of Get Out is playing into the Uncanny Valley. But it might be worth you checking out if you can find it, Ghostly. I'm sure it's out there. But The White Ribbon, it's an R-rated movie for sure, but I don't recall it having anything particularly like in your face offensive. That it's not like American Psycho, I can guarantee you that. I had this odd dream about the death of this girl close to me who I don't know in real life, but they die in a car accident. Her death hit me really hard. I was crying a lot in a dream, and in the end, I saw her dead body, and it was grim. And when I woke up, I saw the flash of this dude I don't know how to wear. That sounds horrifying, Mr. DeCat. You should write a story about that. That's nightmare fuel. That's like particularly like a dream, like the weird thing where you get dream memories, like where you have like a whole world of like memories that are just in a dream world. It's really weird. It's like fake memories but in your dreams. I don't know, that's one of the weirdest elements of dreams to me. It's the fact that you can have completely fabricated memories that contextualize, I guess, the dream that's occurring. It's really strange. But Cryptid, yeah, I think the fear of the unknown is coming back because we've started to get too cocky. The surge of tech and resurgence has got... Yeah, that's usually when it... Because that's also when Lovecraft was playing into it, too. Is like, you know, we were at the peak of the industrial period. Everything, you know... That was also the time where everyone thought that physics had been solved. You know, and it, like... And that was... It was right at the end of that period, that, like, 1920s, 30s pulp period, where, like, Einstein and those other physics... Like, quantum mechanics blew everything up. So we thought we knew everything. So I think you're right, Cryptid. I think that's a good... I think you got your finger on the pulse there a little bit. I think you're right. That should be a new rating. No more PG-13 or R. It's a ghostly movie or a not. That is so far the only rating system of this stream. is the would this be ghostly appropriate or not? Cryptid, which anyone who has lived by or near the ocean will know is patently completely wrong. Yes, that is true. The horror, I mean, that's pure, that comes straight from Lovecraft's fear of, I mean, not just his xenophobic fears, but also his fears of the ocean and all that kind of stuff, things crawling up from the deep. And we still have that. There's still stuff down there that's weird and makes no sense. American Psycho was the worst choice of my life. I know, Ghostly. I have no idea how you sat through that movie. Given yeah, Ghostly only regrets are American and lesser so Vampire's Kiss. Yeah, I can say Vampire's Kiss has some rough parts of that. I think Vampire's Kiss is a genuinely interesting movie. I think it gets a bad rap and is, I mean, I get the memes from it, but I think it's an interesting movie. But yes, there's a big part in there that's the assault part that is rough. That yeah, that's a little, it goes too far in my opinion, but that's just me. Cryptid, there's an episode of Night Vale. Oh, that's an episode of Night Vale. You have been selected to carry someone else's mourning for them. That's crazy. That's creepy. I like that. That's cool. But it's but that's creepy. I should listen to more Night Vale. Back when it was on early, I mean, back what, 2014, I think? 2013, 2014, I was listening to Night Vale a little bit. I dig it. I dig that kind of... It's kind of like the Magnus Archives, like that vibe. It was definitely like a road trip podcast. Those are things I would listen to when I'm on a road trip. Um, Yep, that some bitch is from here. I've been. That some bitch is from here. I've been to his grave. Oh, really? Oh, his Rhode Island grave, or Providence? Is it? Or was he buried in Rhode Island? I know he's from Providence, or no, Providence, Rhode Island. Okay, yeah, never mind. I'm dumb. Forget about me. But yes, yep. Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting that you are literally from that place. Like yeah. Yep. And don't even know what's even half of what's in our seas. That's true, Mr. Cat. We do not. That's what makes them freaky. It's why space is freaky. It is literally the unknown, the things that can come out of the deep and dark. I went on a cruise last year for my cousin's wedding. Whoa, you went on a cruise? That's fat. I wonder what being on a cruise is like. I've been on the ocean a lot, but never on like one of those giant cruise ships. I have since had 4 nightmares about being on the same ship and sinking. Ghostly isn't gonna boat anymore. That is true. Did I ever tell you about the time that I got completely untethered in the middle of the ocean? Did I ever tell you that story? It's more of like a psychological thing, but it was a formative thing for me. It's probably why I was so obsessed with like horror and deep anxiety and being like completely floating in the abyss sort of thing. But I had a weird encounter when I was in the Sea of Cortez out in the middle of the ocean that like really freaked me out. It's like a really surreal feeling. Let's see here. I guess I also like horror with a little mystery in it, like why X's thing happened. Yeah. I mean, most of the interesting horror is for me is mystery. Okay, y'all, I'm sorry I have to jet. Oh, go have fun playing D&D Ghostly. Thanks for hanging. We shall kill the words. Have fun playing the Dungeons and the Dragons. Let's see here. Cryptid, do not go on cruises. If you ever learn one thing from me, let it be that. Oh man, Cryptid, oh boy. It sounds like you've experienced a bad cruise. I decided to stop writing fanfic until I watched the full story on YouTube. Oh, nice. Okay. That makes sense, Mr. DeCat. I'm from the depths of the dark New England Sea. Yes, though I live more inland now, so more of a terrible man-made lake. Ah, gotcha. Okay, there you go. But yeah, you were from that was the whole thing with, particularly with Lovecraft out there in like New England, over on the coast, everybody being, I'm sure the smells of fish at the market made him just faint. Just oh man. Sorry. I have so there's something infinitely amusing to me about that man. It's so, like, he was such a little, like, if we had a modern term, if there was such a thing as an incel in the past, it would have been him. That will infinitely amuse me. When I know full story, I can be more free to change things. That makes sense, Decat. Yep. Have a great time with Dungeons and the Dragons. Yep. I have not been on one. I have instead too much knowledge of them. Cruises are floating petri dishes. Oh yeah, and death traps. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I definitely know that. Yes, you do not want to. The diseases. Then, I mean, obviously norovirus being the big one. Or stomach flu. Because of so I get that, but yes, they are just generally seem like filthy. Always filthy. And it does seem like if something were to go wrong, it is a death trap. You get that many people on a ship, it doesn't matter how many lifeboats you have, it's just no, he was 100,000% an incel, which many in New England, a horror author, will get very upset if you tell them. Wait, really? I grew up on Lovecraft. Lovecraft is probably one of the most formative writers that I grew up with. I don't understand why people need to be offended by that. He was also a terrible writer. Like, out of all those old pulp writers, he was the most, like, pompous and, like, flowery with his language. I don't know. I've written a few essays on Lovecraft when I was in school. My first introduction to horror and my obsessions with horror were all Lovecraft based. I was a diehard Cthulhu kid. I just don't understand why people can't understand that he was a deeply, deeply troubled, monstrous person with monstrous beliefs, and he was also just such like a little. I'm trying. How do I say that without just sounding too mean? But he was just like this sickly, frail, just like everything spooked him. Like he was just like like he would like everything, like literally everything would spook him. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's anyway. Sorry, I could go off on Lovecraft. So you should tell them twice to make sure they heard you. Yeah, I mean you should. It's really really wild. I should avoid them. Two grandfathers have died at sea. Whoa, are you serious, Mr. DeCat? That one was on you. One was on the Titanic and one was in World War One. Holy shit, that is indeed a horror novel. That's crazy. Wild. Yeah, that seems like the foundation of a horror novel, Mr. Cat. I would absolutely use that. It's like something out there, particularly something out there in the Atlantic. I'm assuming he was Oh, whoa, he was at Gallipoli? Yeah. No, I'm well aware. I'm well aware of Gallipoli. It's also a great Peter Weir movie with Mel Gibson, called Gallipoli. That's it's about that whole thing. That's crazy. That's crazy that you had someone really pissed off Poseidon. Yeah, no kidding. Also, the Titanic. That's pretty close. Yeah, that's like close together. You'd have, I guess, one of them would have been on the Titanic. Yeah, you're like, I'm not going anywhere near the ocean. I am not touching it. That makes sense. I wouldn't. Oh, both of them married the same woman? Oh, I see. I got it. She had no luck. That is... Yeah, she's the one who's probably just like, don't ever get on a boat. Because anytime you get on a boat, you die. Yeah, that's crazy, DeCat. That is nuts. That's also wild that you had a grandparent pass away on the Titanic. That's a big deal. That's talk about. I mean, it's tragic, but that's like a big part. That's talk about a major part of history. Oh, he worked it. Yep, he was in the engine rooms. Yep, that makes sense then. That's crazy. That's cool, Mr. Cat. That is rad. So, yeah, I think you absolutely should just write a terrifying and absolutely and utterly terrifying horror story about the ocean. And that's actually, that's a thing. There is not enough. I feel like that's a genre, like, that could be tapped into more, is, like, really scary stories about, like, on the sea. Because there's some weird stuff that happens to both people psychologically, like The Terror, which is a great book. I mean, that kind of leans more into like Inuit folk, like folk horror and kind of like that kind of thing. But oh yeah, if you've got them, I spent so much time on the ocean as a kid, so I used to write. That's when I like literally was trying to pretend like I was Lovecraft, writing first-person horror stories when I was stuck on a tiny, tiny boat in the middle of the goddamn ocean. From the Belly, Emmett Nahil. All right. I'm gonna write that down. But a lot of my imagination, like early childhood, like when I would imagine horror stories or scary stories that would scare me, it was very, very ocean centric because I spent a lot of time on the ocean. It's kind of like the Terror meets Moby Dick and also very gay. Okay, well, Moby Dick is probably in my top 5 favorite novels of all time. So you're gonna get me. I like the Terror a lot. I enjoyed that, but Peter Benchley, yeah. Peter Benchley's great too. Yeah, I know he gets like a lot. Like obviously most people know him for Jaws, but the things he did, the story about what he did after Jaws is wild and I think really cool. Where he like started saving sharks. I was like, oh, that's cool, man. You're a cool dude. But yes, Peter Benchley is great. But yeah, Moby Dick was like a perennial book for me. That's probably to this day one of my favorite books. Might be my favorite book. It's up there. I'd really have to think about it, but it might actually be my favorite book. Because it kind of is, if you think about it, Moby Dick is kind of the first cosmic horror, like existential horror story. It's not really a horror story. It's kind of almost like but it is. It like plays through it, but I think you could argue that was originally, I think you could argue that it is the first sort of cosmic horror story. Yes, which actually, if there was a genre that would ever describe my ultimate goal with the horror, with making horror films, it might be that slice of life as horror. That might be, or slice of life horror. Yeah, that's I might have to steal that when I describe my screenplays for people. I love that, Cryptid. That's amazing. Thank you for that. That might actually describe it better than the usual very prolonged way I describe my own writing. All right. If I was to do a horror, it would need to be fantasy horror. Maybe a horror in one of my fantasy worlds. Yeah. I mean, you could always just take the weird things that have happened to your grandparents and make that a fantasy thing. So it doesn't have to be like they died on the Titanic or they died in this war. You can always make a separate version of that, like an allegorical version of that elsewhere. Oh, all right, everybody. Well, we should probably dive into our sprints. We got to run ads first, so we're going to run ads at the very top of the thing. But we should dive in because I can't stream super late tonight. So I want to at least get a few sprints done today. Totally valid. I did. I do a lot of fantasy horror. Got it. It's most of what I write. Yeah. I mean, witch punks, man. It sounds like fantasy horror to me. Or just punky fantasy horror. Yes, gotta stitch this book together. Swat those ads. Not today, Bezos. That's right. Well done. All right. The ads are going to be rolling, so feel free to mute during the sprint, and we will go ahead and get rolling. Happy writing, everybody, and we will see you on the other side. Alrighty, and that is the end of that first sprint. Bam! Start the down timer. I got my tea. I got that done. Everything else, not so much. I mean, a little bit. Got a little bit. I have to, like, it always takes me a little bit of time to kind of switch gears, I think, from doing, like, editing work, which is all very cerebral, and of course it's like the blandest of editing work, so it's all corporate stuff, so it's like a completely different part of my brain, and then trying to be like, oh right, come up with stories now. That's the important thing. Exactly, that is the most important thing. Do do do. Do do. I got the stitching together. Oh, nice. You got the stitching done. Cut a section. I want to keep it, but it's not needed, and I'm a smidge over word count. Oh. What's a smidge? What's a smidge? Now I'm puzzling with format to see how badly the word count is. Really? Gotcha. Okay, yeah. It's like, I'm a little bit over, but let's see. Yeah. You know, it's funny with screenplays, people start doing all kinds of weird stuff where they mess with, like, fonts, which I'm kind of always just like people are gonna notice, like, particularly with people who read scripts all the time, they're gonna notice they spend their entire lives reading scripts constantly. They're gonna notice when you fudge the margins, or you've, like, you know, you've tweaked, you know, which version of Courier New you're using. So, but I've seen them do it. People do it a lot. Okay, so let's see here. 3K, got it. 3K. Just got to 500 one session. Well done. Maybe you can get to 1K. Hey, see, now you did your minimum. So now from here on out, it's all you. It's all dessert, as they say. I won't alter for submission. Gotcha. Yeah, I want to get it into actual print book format so I can see. Oh, gotcha. What the actual page count, the final page count will be. Gotcha. That makes sense. That makes sense. Do something really quick. You are messaging me. Why are you messaging me? There you go. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Why? Like, but people do it. I don't know why you would submit. Like, why you would tweak that? I feel like you're fighting a losing battle, or just get the word count under control. But there is a lot of pressure in Hollywood. Like, people want short scripts. It's like it's shocking. Like, they will look at the page count on the script before they even start it, and I've known people that when they see, even not even that long, it used to be 120 pages, just needed to be under 120. Now I've seen people that, like, if it's on the high end, like 118, 119, they'll just throw it away. I'm like, jeez, like, not even start it. I see it in editing too. Like, I would at least, like, okay, if your page count's 120 and you haven't hooked me by 10 pages, then maybe I could see being like, meh, all right. But, like, come on. like at least read it, you know. It might there are great scripts that justify their page counts. I see it in editing too, and I always gotta warn my self-publishers, honey, sweetie, your font won't be in the ebook. That's true. That is, I guess that makes perfect. Yeah, where you're agonizing over what the font is gonna be, and it's just like, and no one, yeah, the ebook, no, it's not, because those have, like, default fonts they use, right? So, like, the font that you're using isn't gonna be a thing. A bit harsh just because it's too long. Oh, Mr. DeCat, I never underestimate the fact that particularly in Hollywood, I'm actually sure it's true in a lot of places, but people actually don't like reading. And even if your job is to read scripts and try to like do that, people just, and I a part of it, I used to do a lot of script coverage when I worked for a producer when I first moved out here, and my main job with him was doing coverage on scripts, and it does wear you down. You're reading like 10 scripts sometimes every couple of days, like usually, well, sometimes you even have to cram it into like a day and a half. It's like too much. So the tendency is there. I get it. I just, man, I always tried to make sure though that I was giving the script its due, like at least a little bit, at least enough to like kind of get the gist of the story. And if the story just kind of isn't hooking me or grabbing me, then I can be like, meh. But producers, they're ruthless. They'll just toss it. There absolutely are. I hate it. I hate it here. I advocate for none of these publishing choices. Oh no. Yeah. Hearing this makes me dread the idea of handing my book to a publisher. I mean, Cryptid's gonna have a better idea of how the publishers are, but I know this specifically with producers, because producers also like. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to think that publishers would enjoy reading more than like producers. I get, because most producers are just like someone's kid, and they got there by usually some form of nepotism and wealth, but so it's a lot harder. Like, you really have to like struggle and pull tooth and nail to like get people to read your stuff out here. People do not like to read. Yep, ebooks have about a dozen preload fonts. That's right. Yeah, I figured that they had like a default font, and the readers can pick whichever they want to. Do not get attached to your damn garment. Yeah, because people, people are gonna. I didn't know that most e-readers could switch fonts. I knew they came like installed with font, like a font type, but I didn't know you could change it. That's kind of cool. Maybe I'll do that. I mean, I'm not that picky about the fonts. I'm fine with it, but in case. Well, you'd be handing to an agent first in 90% of cases, and they'll work with you to be sure it's in what they want before that moment. Yeah, that makes sense. Publishers vary. To break it down without getting too tedious, most traditional publishing, you work with agents, because agents know a network of acquiring editors who are people who buy the book for the public. Oh, interesting. Okay. I didn't realize that the editors buy for the publishers. I didn't know that. That's how that works? Agents buying or organizing things for a publisher makes sense to me. That's how it's done in the film world too, usually. Is you're never sending your script to a producer unless you're on a name-by-name basis with that producer. Like, it's always your agent. You always your agent, or if you have a management team, it's your managers. It's like never, but interesting. It goes through editors, and then the editors. That's I didn't know that. The editors are king. They rule. Still, my novel will be 50K to 40K max, which is not too long. Yeah, 50K 40K doesn't seem too long. That seems pretty like standard novel length. Like, that's pretty in the middle, I'd say. But it's why I push for a lot of my screenplays. I keep a lot of my scripts, unless they're dialogue heavy, like my cyberpunk rom-com, I think clocks in at 115, 116, and that's a lot of dialogue. Dialogue takes up page count. It's not a lot of words, so the nice thing is it's easy to read, but it adds to your page count. But almost everything else that I write, I try to keep almost everything to under 100 pages, and I try to make most of these things come out to about, on average, 100 minutes. That's like, I learned that actually from Bergman. If you go back, a lot of people talk about Bergman being, arty filmmaker, but that dude knew how to keep his movies tight. Like, Seventh Seal is 87 minutes. like he's got some big ones that are like 4.5 hours long, like these big monolith pieces, but almost all the Bergman movies, from Persona to Seventh Seal, The Magician, like, so many of them are sub 100, or even in some cases sub 90 minutes. So that's how I do it. And so far nobody gets grumpy. Like, you'll hear people literally say, "Man, I love it when I get a solid 100-page script comes across my desk." People seem to just like 100-page scripts. So I'm like, all right, That's what your script length is. You make it work. Agents send your novel out to the sub. Okay. Your novel out on sub to those acquiring editors to see who wants it. Then the acquiring editors work for various imprints and pub lines. That's why you see agents who work with specific genres or age categories, because that's their network. Okay, see, that makes sense to me. Yes, because agents would specify, like, deal very heavily in, like, in that's similar out here too, where you'll have like broader agents or agencies that are like just trying to cover everything, but usually you have agents that specify in certain things, like in specific, like, okay, that this guy kind of manages like these types of actors, writers, directors, these types, and usually it has to do with genre. Love a good cyberpunk. Yeah, that's yep, it was my, what was it, my queer cyberpunk rom-com, because everybody was like, try to write something that you've never written before, so I was like, okay, very outside of brand for me is to write a rom-com, and of course I had to make it a cyberpunk rom-com because I needed, you know, alienation and some form of anti-capitalist and nihilism. That's the only, apparently it's the only way I can broach a romantic thing, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure why that word. Yeah. Why I want this movie, please. Yeah, it's interesting. People, I've actually had to submit. I've been submitting it to comic. Some people want me to submit it as a comic book too. I mean, usually when you're submitting as a comic book, you're submitting the comic book to eventually get turned into a movie. But sometimes you use that as a midpoint. But yeah, it definitely has a lot of people. It's been one of my most positively received scripts, which I thought was interesting, because it was a script I wrote completely out of my wheel. Cyberpunk is very much my wheelhouse. Rom-com, not so much. All right. Okay, so we got ads. I guess once the ads are done, we'll go ahead and dive into our next sprint. Have you seen The Duel yet? The Duel? No. What is The Duel? I mean, I've seen The Duelists, like the old Ridley Scott movie from the 70s. Yes, please, I need to keep fixing this damn book. Yeah, I get it. Oh, the Discord story. No, not yet. No, I've been way too busy. I probably won't be able to get around to doing any reading or anything for a minute because of the pork. But starting next week, we should be back on a normal streaming schedule, like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And I'm gonna try to be back on 3 days a week. But because at that point the pork stuff should be almost done. I should just be doing like finishing touches. I should not need to be doing what I had to do this week. So, yes, end of the pork stuff. Yep, exactly. So because I'm starting my next script next week, so I kind of need this stuff to be done because I'm gonna be focusing on that. So, exactly, so close to freedom. Yeah. And because of it, I've had to delay getting the script out. I need to get this. I originally wanted to have the script done by around now, middle of March, and I need to get it finished. I hope they paid you well for their bullshit. This job pays decently, but not enough. Not enough for the bullshit, and also not enough to live in LA. But it pays okay. It pays all right. You know, I still. I could go down the laundry list, like, am I getting paid well enough to have consistent access to healthcare? Am I getting paid enough to, yeah, so, yeah, not that well, but it pays well. Like, it'll cover it should get me through the summer, so, and that's what matters. All right, I think we are good. Let us dive back into our next sprint. Happy writing, everybody. And we will see you on the flip side. Considering they're on the East Coast, they should pay you a lot better. Cost is living here. Yeah. It's like all the coasts. It just, yeah. I mean, New York is worse than where I'm at right now. And I actually have a pretty decent deal where I'm at. But but I also can never move. Like, I literally can't leave this place. Because if I do, I will never be able to afford anything in LA ever again. All right, go get your teen cookie. Massachusetts officially beat out Cal. We're number 2 behind Hawaii. That's it. You beat out New York? That's nuts. Massachusetts beating out LA or California? That's weird. But beating out New York? That's nuts. Hey, welcome in. Now we're just about to start our next sprint. Hello, and Princess. Where is Princess? All right, nope. We got the orange. We got the big boy. We got Aang back here, just sleeping. But I don't know where Princess is. That's a good question. She'll show up. Princess will be around eventually. She'll show up. Fair and valid. That's how I ended up in my house. Nabbed down a short sale. I will never be able to afford to move again. Yeah. My apartment is rent controlled, and I've been here for 7 years, so I literally cannot leave this place. I will not be able to afford to live in LA if I leave, unless I'm suddenly magically wealthy. All right, everybody. Happy writing. We will see you. Are house swaps a thing for where you are? House swaps. That's. Oh, like where? I don't know. I don't know if I would trust me hear that, particularly with someone random. Maybe. I don't know. I'm sure it is. I'm sure there are people who do that here. It's a big thing where two tenants who rent can swap houses. I mean, that actually seems like, I don't know if you can do that. I'm pretty sure your apartment complex would be like, the way that the managers work at apartment complexes, I just get the feeling that would not fly. Like, if you take on a new roommate or something like that, you have to jump through like a million hoops just to get them in. Sometimes, like, it's a nightmare. So yeah, like they can be pretty like bad to you if you're a renter. You really don't. You have some rights. I mean, it got a lot better from the COVID stuff, but like, it can be rough. Not that I know of. I mean, I bought this house on a whim and a prayer, and I wouldn't trust folks with my old house. Yeah, she's 124. She's got needs. Yep. All right. Okay, all right. We are gonna jump in. I will stop babbling, and we will get our sprint started, but I'll be active in the chat. All right, happy riding, everybody, and we'll see you on the other side. And Nell redeems stretch, so everybody be sure to stretch. After all this sitting, be sure to stretch. Limber up a little bit. Oh, thank you, Nell. Thank you, Nell. All right. Happy riding. And hydrate. I got tea, so thank you. All right. Happy riding, everybody. And that is the end of that sprint. Just bring the music down. Oh, hopefully progress was made. I ended up just researching most of it researching. But hopefully the words are treating you all well. All right, let me start the down timer. This next one is probably going to be the last sprint I will be doing for the evening, due to obviously the late start, as well as I need to go make food. I have yet to eat today, for the most part. So I will be eating after, but we'll do one more sprint, and hopefully I will actually get a little bit of writing done instead of getting distracted and researching. And we got ads. So for everybody, you got this. Thank you, Cryptid. How's the Alright, we're gonna run ads. So if you get hit by ads, just mute. Been reading Redeeming Love. Ooh, what is that, Oriam? Oh, really? That sounds interesting. It definitely sounds a little bit outside my wheelhouse, but that sounds interesting. Spent way too much time. Spent way too much of that looking for milk. Oh, right, because you were gonna go milk. That was right under me. Just for it to be. Oh, it's gone bad? Ah. Oh, no. That's awful. That's so disappointing. That's I can't imagine. You're just you got some cookies, you want some milk, and it's bad. Cryptid, I am skimming and trimming. That is right. Skimming and trimming in places where I can. I'd like to get this back below 103k. Okay. Even if I can't just get to 102k. Sorry. 102k again, I will be happy. So yeah, so about 2,000. So about 2,000 words. Yeah, that's a lot. Although that's a pretty hefty, that's a total hefty word count. So I guess contextually with all of it, that's not too bad. Yeah, I was that's a fair amount of work. It seems like it. Let's see. I'm working on the exact let's see here. Here I am. Working on the exact opposite. At least you figured out it was bad before you drank it. Yeah. That's even worse when you take a sip and it's just gross. If you fix the POV, remove the terrible parts, and give the main character role to the girl, and give the love interest an actual arc, it could be a good book. That's a lot of work there, Oriam. That's a fair amount of work to do to make it good. I mean, I'm impressed. I guess in theory, at least if you can clarify that, at least reading it's a really good learning experience. To just be okay, yeah, I see how none of this works, so I can move and do something else, or no, maybe see the mechanisms behind it and how it works. I can probably get to 1k by the end of the sprint. Yes, Mr. DeCat, you got this. I think you can do it. I believe in you. You've got this. Yeah, it's just tough because I am writing a goddamn YA, so it's light. So it's a tighter set of standards. Got it. If I was doing an adult, it would be fine. Is that the standards? Is that just the total word count, or is it are YA that restrictive? I guess it's, I could see it being restrictive in terms of genre, in terms of what you gotta hit the tropes or hit the beats. Because I feel, I mean, maybe I'm just wrong, but I always felt like, I know light novels are a different thing, and I've never actually sat down and read a light novel, but it seems like they seem similar-ish. Not the same. I'm not saying the same, but similar-ish in terms of a sort of adherence to a structure and a type. That's awesome. Yep. I did drink it. That's how I knew. Oh no, I'm sorry, Mr. Cat. That's terrible. Put it in. Oh, you put it in the tea. Ugh. Oh man. So then it ruined the tea. Oh, I'm sorry. That's rough. The movie fixed a lot of the problems. Well, I mean, it's good that it's That's good that like it can transition. Like, I mean, lots of times if it's coming from a bad source, they will try to touch it up. They will try to clean it, like clean it up a little bit. And sometimes that fixes some of the narrative problems, but it's both. It can wander. It can't wander as much, and it needs to be shorter. Okay, so it does actually have to be shorter to be a YA novel. I feel like YA novels are huge, though. I feel sometimes when I see those things in the books, it's like they're huge. Am I wrong? I don't know. They just seem big. I've done some of the broader fantasy ones. I feel like they're. I mean, maybe not like Game of Thrones big, like, you know, in terms of like a Song of Ice and Fire, but they seem big. Novel. First novel is okay. The first novel is restrictive. You can go ham on the second novel. Gotcha. Yep. Debut rules are a bastard. Gotcha. So the first one, you have to play by the rules. Then if it's successful, you can do whatever you want. Got it. Oh, that's a drag. Or ham. Giant fairy. Where's the no to cat? I know that's sad. That's so sad. Putting it in tea. Oh, I'm sorry. It's still tanked. Oh, the movie tanked. No. And you don't see a lot of romance movies doing well, and particularly if it's like leaning into the Christian romance sort of genre, that's not. Those don't tend to do well broadly at the box office. They tend to only do well in their sort of niche pocket people that watch that stuff. And yeah, that's why I have the gay vamp novel, which is adult. Got it. Oh no, they can, Oriam. I'm not saying they can't. They just tend not to. They tend to be pretty restrictive in terms of where they go. And it depends. It depends on the type and what they are and what they're doing and sort of. I mean, you can get. I don't know if it's like, quote unquote, like Christian movies. There's definitely like faith movies that do well. So I would say like something like Scorsese's Silence, or, you know, things that deal with faith. But like specifically like the genre of Christian movies don't tend to do well broadly. They might do well in their communities, but they're not broad box office pullers. They don't pull a lot of money in. I mean, I guess the God Is Not Dead series started. It had a little bit because of what's his name, Sorbo. But yeah. I mean, those ones they weren't like smash hits, but they would. Yeah, the first God Is Not Dead probably at least made its money back and maybe a little bit more. And that's why I have the gay vamp novel, which is adult. Yeah, I feel like, particularly if you're writing young adult, I wouldn't be able to. I'd need something to bounce, because I don't know. I don't know if maybe I just feel like I'm too adult. I don't know. I guess, you know, that might be an interesting challenge. Could I write something that would be like kid appropriate, that feels more like a Miyazaki type thing? Because I feel like there's like density in that thematically and narratively that you know, like that you actually need, like that to me is like interesting both narratively and philosophically. I wonder if I could do that. I mean, it's hard. You know, that's literally a master at his craft, but you know. And I like Ursula K. Le Guin. And I mean, I know she resisted the young adult branding on the Earthsea books, but they are, like, particularly the first book is definitely written with a younger audience in mind. Now, it changes because I think Tomb of Antoine is one of the greatest books ever written, let alone, like, independent of it being, like, a young fantasy story. But the Tombs of Antoine's, like, on its own, one of the best fantasy novels ever written, in my humble opinion. Um, let's see. Those are always the second thirds. That's why. Gotcha. Me writing multiple romances with demons and monsters. I got nothing. Yeah. Not much in Witch Punk. So, not much in Witch Punk so much as romance and horror setting, I guess, with two very messed up people. I mean, that sounds cool to me. That's compelling. If you like your romances as Heather, see, that's where you're gonna win me over because I love Heather's. Heather's one of my favorite movies, so that's kind of yeah. Number one, actually meet Jesus. Number two, add a family member with a terminal disease and heal him, her at the end. And you only need these two elements in your Christian anything genre. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That is true. There's always like some disguised meeting of Jesus. Of all the our love of God is let's get a Slurpee. Yeah, that's true. God, what was that like real red, white, and blue? Red, white. There's a real. Is it Flag of Courage? I don't know. It's like a biker. I don't know. I watched it. We got a few friends and I got real drunk and watched that movie, and I'm pretty sure that like the Santa Claus in that movie actually turns out to be Jesus. It's a wild movie. It's not good like, at all. It's a terrible movie. But let's see here. I bet you could Twilight. Okay, all right. Thank you for the vote of confidence, Cryptid. Maybe I'll try. Maybe I'll try to write like a movie. It would be a movie probably. I probably wouldn't even attempt to do that in terms of prose, but but if they've gotten a lot better, I mean, maybe I can like lean into it a little bit. This is the fantasy meet the superstar, get a kiss. I mean, Jesus Christ Superstar is great. That's classic. But it's our love of everything. Let's steal someone's soul. I like that. Our love is everything. Let's steal someone's soul. Meet Jesus, receive his blessing. All right, everybody. We're gonna dive into the next sprint. But we will see you all on the other side. Happy writing, and we'll see ya. Oh, there we go. Delay the ads. All right, happy writing, everybody. redeem stand up and move, everybody. So feel free to stand up, stretch, move around. Be sure to move that body from all that writing. So thank you now. Alrighty, everybody. That is the end of that sprint. Oh, and look, Princess is announcing. She is done with my crap. Anyway, I hope it was a productive sprint. Mr. DeCat, congrats. You made it to your 1K. Well done. And I am going to stretch. And I think that is going to be it for me this evening, everybody. I'm going to go make dinner. Boop. Let's bring the music down a little bit. Yeah, definitely going to do that before the ads hit. But... All right, but till next time, everybody. Awesome, that's awesome. Congrats. I did not get below 103K. In fact, I made no, Krypton, no. Princess says it's time for bed. Yeah, I think Princess just wants me to go because I always feed them when I'm making myself dinner, so I think they want food. That's what they want. Although he's just passed out back there doing his thing, so he's fine, but I like what I did, so I'm cool with it. All right. Well, if you're cool with it, and if it's cool what you did, then maybe it's worth making it a little longer. Maybe. All right, everybody. I'm going to go make some food. I love you all. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. And we'll be back. Should be... I always say should be back to normal schedule, and then something inevitably goes horribly wrong. But I'm going to say back to normal schedule. So Tuesday... should be back and ready to go Tuesday. So I will see you all then. Take care.